Hey guys, today we're going to test the new Total Tank Simulator update that's just released a few hours ago. We're going to see what it is. We're going to see if there's any improvements that can be made, any criticism that I see with the update. We're going to give it a test and I'm going to show you guys every step of the way. Let's get into it. I've set up a small scenario here of a couple tank groups. British tank groups, British artillery, and German artillery. I like to actually add the German artillery. I'd like to see what mobile units like Storm Tigers, mobile artillery does when you set them on an attack order. In order to get this to work, you can either drag a box around your units or shift click, which is really useful. For instance, if you wanted to use artillery, you just do attack. Actually, that's interesting. So they're not counted as artillery, but they're counted as a unit. So I wonder how the unit selection is going to work here. So let's say we wanted to attack the big boys. Let's say we wanted these guys to attack center. Let's say we want these guys to, let's say we want them to flank left, flank around. Let's say we want the British to move in center while they're getting flanked. Let's say we want the Germans also to attack center. Artillery units are called artillery attack. Mobile units are not, so I'm very curious to what the AI does with that. We're going to have the artillery hit these heavier tanks on the left side for the Germans. All right, as you can see, it gets pretty messy in Sandbox when you're setting up orders. There's a lot of potential with this. I wanted to test this in its entirety today. All right, let's start the battle and see what happens, guys. All right, so the unit orders are going through. So I was right about the mobile artillery. The mobile artillery can't tell that it's an artillery unit. It's actually moving up the Storm Tigers, and they're moving up and charging the enemy tanks. One little baby flaw with this update: if you have mobile artillery, you can't really tell them what to do, but the flanking is working. If you use orders and the AI doesn't, you're pretty much guaranteed to win the battle, because the AI could do something like this. You could do some really good strategies. Like right now, the British have completely wiped out the Germans just by outranging them from a distance. So you can finally do things like that. The artillery is still not firing. So that's one of the flaws I would say. With mobile artillery, just let them do what they do. Don't give them orders. Interestingly, another scenario I figured out. So artillery attack works pretty simply. The artillery will do this. If you do this, then do this again, you can actually get them to target buildings afterwards. So you can only use one order at a time for units, which is okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. So that means you need individual artillery groups firing at individual buildings like this. I'm also using different guns to see how that affects things, but I'm pretty sure they fire at the same time. I'm also very interested to see what Air Force units do. So air to ground, so you could actually use your bombers and target units. Let's say we wanted the German bombers to hit the artillery here, you could do that. I was also curious to see what you can do with buildings. Looks like you cannot use any orders with buildings. So another thing you can't do is you cannot control fighters. I would assume that would be pretty important, but I understand fighters should be kind of going on their own. But what if you had a group of bombers like this that you wanted to take out before they took out this artillery? You didn't know that, but if the enemy placed it here, you'd assume, okay, those bombers are going to go right for the important stuff like my AA guns and my artillery. You'd want to select these bombers, or these fighters, and push them over here to take out the bombers. You can't do that. I don't know if that was misfunctionality by the devs. I know they had to get this update out. People were requesting it. There's a few holes in this update, but I think it could be improved upon. As I said, I love the fact that you can finally control your artillery. That's a wonderful thing. It sucks you can't set rally points for buildings as well, because what happens with buildings is they just spawn units here, and sometimes those units don't even go near the battlefield. Some things I would ask for is the ability to use building rally points to charge and put them in the center of the map. Let's say if you wanted your units here, or to just rally over here, and then maybe getting those units in individual order to charge. It'd be awesome if you could set orders during the battle as well. So if you were really an intense match, that would be useful too. Maybe they'll add that functionality later. Maybe they can't right now, but that would be a good future proof. Let's see how the battle plays out. So these bombers are doing what they said they're gonna do. The AA defenses work. The artillery is targeting the buildings exactly like they're supposed to. As you can see, I wanted to do one last scenario here. I wanted to test some bizarre unit orders. Let's say if you want to do something crazy. Let's say simply, let's put, you have tanks here and you want to go over there. So you point. So you have tanks in the underground here. So you have tanks doing this. So you say, okay, I want to attack the center of the map. So you point the tanks, you put them on an attack order, point them in center. And I did that with individual units. So I did that with infantry, Shermans, and heavy tank destroyers to see what they do and see if they can pathfind around the mountain where they go, to see if they all group together when they pathfind. I also put individual groups here to see if they go along this outer coastline. So I put a Sherman group and a T-34 group, pointing them in the same direction and see if they do that. I also did some bizarre orders here. So I have these Soviet tanks pointed at a mountain to see what the game does when it pathfinds, to see if it can detect, okay, I can't actually go into that mountain. We're going to cancel the order. Also curious to see what happens when you get infantry near buildings and do the take cover order to see if they actually garrison the building. I've done that with America as well, just to double check it. And I'm curious to see what happens if you get units or want to put units in buildings that are outside of the map, if you give them an attack order that points them into that building, will they stay in that building? As far as I can understand, there may be a way to drag out orders and such, but as far as I can understand, you can't give multiple orders at once. Unless there is a button for that. This update just came out 2 hours ago, so we're still learning about this, but I wanted to test a few scenarios for you guys. Because there is no cover out here, so what do? They're going to group up, or are they going to stay still? First off, I'd love to start with here, so let's see what these units do. What are they doing? They are not going straight up the hill. They've detected that there's a hill here. It is sort of problematic because that is obviously the not optimum route to get to here to here. Oh no! Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, so they've detected that they have to go underwater to fill that order out. That was, oh. Yeah, now we have T-34s that are underwater trying to follow that order. These units are doing what they said they were going to do. And these units are doing what they said they're going to do. I told these guys to take cover. I think they completed that order, and I think they're moving on. These guys, let's see what they do. Are they going to go in the house? Yes, they're going to go in the house. They're looking for units to attack. You see how they're faced out? That was hilarious in the south. They're still going in the water trying to follow their orders. So be careful. If the arrow is saying, as much as you want to say, let's flank left, if the arrow's pointing into the water, they're going to go in the water. They're going to follow your order to the absolute amount, even if it's at their own demise. All right, so attack order. Doesn't work. So the Soviet troops did follow that order. So they take cover, I believe, in the nearest possible building. That's why some of them went north, and some of them went to this building here, ended up getting shot by the Americans. AI doesn't know the difference, so it's like, okay, there's cover up here, and there's cover down there. That's smart. That's a good, smart thing. What do these Soviet tanks do when they hit a hill? Will they detect if the order is sound, and will they... Yes! Okay. So they've detected that there is a hill here, and they're like, we can't go there. There's no units there. They automatically do automatic unit orders, and they're moving to point of interest again. Wonderful. That's exactly what I wanted them to do. Thank you guys for sticking around and checking out this update with me. This update's good. Does it need some improvements? Yes, but this is a sound feature of the game. I'm very happy it's in the game. They keep bumping out stuff like this. This game will live for a long time. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and don't forget to check out the rest of my videos.